This is our weekly conversation on matters of faith, and joining us this morning is J.T. Wright with Airport Boulevard Baptist Church in Mobile. Christmas is days away, and we talked to him about why it is one of the foundational holidays in Christianity.
The point in history where God revealed himself to humanity tangibly and intimately when we celebrate Christmas, because it's the prelude to Easter, the culmination of that plan. We wouldn't have a reason to celebrate Christmas without Jesus' sacrifice and resurrection. And so Christmas and Easter encapsulate the story of Christianity. That's why it's foundational.
What do you think is your favorite part of this season?
Okay, now that's a great question. I've always enjoyed celebrating Christmas with my family and friends, and the traditions of Christmas are special to me. And the older I get, the more I miss so many of those people that made those Christmases special. So I get a little sad because those folks are not with us any longer. The places where those memories were made, they're gone. But as I build new traditions with my family, I still celebrate with joy, and my appreciation for the season grows each year. So making those memories and enjoying those moments, that's my favorite part of Christmas.
What part of the Christmas story do you think has the most relevancy to you today?
Well, most people are familiar with Luke 2 verses 8 through 14. That's because Linus quoted it in a Charlie Brown Christmas. I even heard it quoted at a little church event that I went to Friday night. And I believe Linus stopped short of the most relevant part of the message. The angels came to shepherds. Shepherds were outsiders. They smelled like sheep. They were not welcome. And the angels went to shepherds, not to kings. And they invited them to come to Jesus, which means that, today we don't have to be VIPs to be invited to come to Jesus. We don't have to clean ourselves up before we go to meet him. And in a world that builds so many boundaries, we need a God that tears them down.
In a year that has been marked by a lot of loss, how can we cherish this season and find joy in it?
Well, I spoke a couple minutes ago about the loved ones that I miss that were believers. Most of them were believers. And so the gift of Jesus gives me hope that I'll see them again in a place with no sadness and, no COVID either. And we'll have an eternity together to celebrate with each other and with Jesus. And so in this very unique time in history, all of us need that type of hope. And I believe Jesus offers more hope than anything that could be manufactured here on earth. And so for me, God's assurance of hope is the greatest source of joy we have. And that's no matter what the year may be, but I believe most critical for Christmas 2020.
The stories around Christmas are ones that a lot of people have heard before. How do you continue to try to make this message fresh in each new year?
Well, for me, I think the key is helping people in the 21st century understand what happened in the first century. Because if we stick to some of the old scripts and that type thing, it winds up stale, and it winds up just a recitation. But if we can connect people with the reality, just like I spoke of shepherds, understanding that it's the powerful in the world that wanted to put Jesus aside, but in a time where so many people that feel like they're outsiders are trying to express that.
J.T. Wright with Airport Boulevard Baptist Church in Mobile. We thank him for joining us for this edition of